Ladies and gents, welcome to the fantastic glebe fisheries in Leicestershire. And if I may, I'd like to tell you a little story. About 6 or 7 years ago, I was working with Middy tackle on a brand new range of poles. The flagship pole at the time was the XK55, a super stiff, super strong pole, and really they were the attributes of the whole range of poles at that time. Now, fast forward to present day, and there's a brand new range of poles being released by Middy tackle using similar attributes, similar technologies, but with some massive leap forwards in section lengths, section designs and section strengths. I've actually had a hand in helping to develop this new range of poles, and so is the man behind me, Lee Thornton, former Camasan Matchman of the Year winner, superb angler. So let's go over, have a chat with him. He's going to catch us a few fish and hopefully we'll learn a little bit as well. I can see you smiling at me in your little childish way because you're catching a load of fish. Obviously you're using the new pole.
Yes.
We're here to talk about the new pole. I'm going to ask you in a minute because obviously everyone's interested how you catch a few fish as well. But first of all, nice little fish, isn't it?
Yeah, nice little stamping here, all between sort of like £2 and £3 or so,
Right.
something like that.
Nice, yeah, nice little fish. For those of you who don't know, we're at the glebe today, we're on Pretty's pool, where the fish aren't huge. There's plenty of fish up to sort of like double figures in here, but the general stamp is like probably, what, 2 to 3, 2 to 4 pounds?
I'd say that's what I've been catching here, yes.
And you're catching loads of fish on like hard pellet, aren't you? 14.5 metres.
Yep.
Little tiny bites, little dinks, lifting up, striking, catching, hooking your fish.
Yeah, it's perfect.
As I say, we're here to talk about the pole. I've had a bit of a hand in the pole, but I know that you have been developing the pole as well for quite a long period of time.
Yep.
What would you say it's been in development? Maybe a year?
I'd say slightly longer we've been talking about it, but obviously you've been involved since the outset with the range, haven't you?
Yeah, this was like obviously a long time ago, maybe on the original mandrel.
Yes.
And we're still using sort of similar technology because it's hard to improve. It's hard to improve on that mandrel, as you know, as sort of the problems that you've come up against.
Well, during the sort of field testing, we have used different mandrels, and we decided to stick with the same mandrel, A, because the performance was there, and B, because obviously anybody else who invested into the range during that time, we felt as though we should reward that and make sure that if they do invest further into the new poles, that they've got all the parts to interchange, you know? Because
that's one of the things that I think is really important when someone's looking to buy a new pole. If there is a chance that you can buy a pole that is just a follow-on of what you've got,
yes,
you can keep your old pole
as a spare,
as spares, or if you need, you're missing a few bites now. Is it the pressure?
That was a liner.
Oh, okay. You can keep your old pole as spares, and obviously you'll have a load of top kits from your old pole that'll all fit.
Yes.
That brings us on to one of the things that I know you were really particular about, and me also, the top kits.
Yes.
So there's a new length of top kit for this pole compared to the originals.
That's right, yeah.
The top end pole. Another missed bite, Lee. The pressure's getting to you. Come on.
Just can't cope, can I?
So called them ultra control kits.
Yes.
You're fishing carp and F1 venues constantly, catching loads of fish after fish, in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
There we go. That's better.
Had him on the drop there.
Looks nice, doesn't it? Catching fish after fish, you're catching far more fish than me, really. I tend to fish for bigger fish. So this shorter kit obviously makes a difference to you, doesn't it?
There's quite a few aspects to it. So it starts with shipping out, with playing fish with the right length of the elastic in the pole, the way it behaves with a pole put on the end. And what we felt at the team was shortening up this third section would give a better combination for all three, or all of those aspects, if you like. Concentrate on playing this one out. So yeah, not only is it stiffer when you're playing the fish, hence it ultra control, you've got a slightly shorter length of elastic, which I think is perfect for the game. And when you're actually fishing with the pole, the fish playing action is improved, and you're getting less wobble when you're shipping in and out.
Well, I use the F1 kits a lot because they make your pole feel beautiful.
Yes.
But for bigger fish, you just can't get enough elastic through them, can you, to play those bigger fish? So this is a really happy medium compromise. I also felt that when you go to a longer kit, I almost felt that they probably weren't as strong as the shorter kits.
No, exactly.
So the first thing I did when I got a couple of these samples was I took them to somewhere where there's some big fish.
Yeah.
And my job was to try and break them. You know,
and did you break any?
That's what I did. Yeah, no, I didn't break them, which is quite good. And I took them to catch a few big fish. Then I had my 5-year-old in the garden pulling the elastic out as far as he can, and me pulling into them with, in theory, you know, the pressure that I want to be putting on anything, putting on a fish. And yeah, they passed with flying colours. So, I mean, Middy have rated them to 18 elastic.
Yes.
Which
that seems about fair in my opinion, my experience. Like I say, I'm similar. I haven't broken one of these kits during action yet.
I mean, when you're looking at spending big money on a pole, I mean, at 18 elastic used sensibly, it should be able to cope with it.
Exactly.
Obviously, today you're using a Phantom kit.
Yes.
Brand new finish on the kit, sort of a grey white kit, which I'm not too sure whether it makes a difference with the shadow on the water.
Well,
but it can't hurt,
for certain, Rob. It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt.
So if there's a chance of it being, you know, beneficial to your fishing, then why not use it?
Right, so here's a question for you.
Yes.
Because I've got the answer for me already. If you had a choice between using the Phantom kit and the standard kit, what are you going to choose?
I'm going to go for the Phantom.
Yeah, me too. Because like you say, okay, you might look a bit of a maverick on the bank sometimes.
Yeah.
Because everyone else has got black top kits, but it's not hurting your fishing. It's all about getting more fish in the net, isn't it?
I actually think they look quite good with the pole as well, to be honest. It's cosmetically not displeasing at all.
No.
Obviously, we've got the shorter length with the top kits, but that meant we had a problem with anybody who'd already bought the top kits.
Original top kits. Obviously, if you've got spares, spares, it was going to be an issue because all your kits were different lengths. So, because they're only sort of like, what would you say, 30 centimetres, 12-inch?
Yeah, it's about 250 mil, I think it is.
Yeah? Yeah. So there's plenty of fish there now, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm just having to cut the loose feed out just to keep him on the bottom.
Yeah. So if because there's sort of like you say, 250 mil difference, Middy have got a little short piece that fits in between. It's almost like a fake 3, isn't it? A fake 4-3.
Yeah, they've called it the adaptive Q, and it just means the top kits are more adaptive, basically.
Yeah, sure.
And you can use the new top kits in.
And I suppose if you do like long top kits, you can use it with that piece in place all the time, couldn't you?
Correct. Yeah. I'll grab it in a second.
Yeah, grab it when you've played this fish. I mean, the top kit configuration for me is probably one of the most important parts of this, so it's worth spending a bit of time on it.
Well, it's interesting that you come up separately with the same configuration as I did in conjunction with using the short top kits, a short 4, and even a muletto wheel inside your pole for the
extra elastic,
Now for F1s and silverfish on the Snake Lakes, I still think the F1 kits are perfect.
You're catching some bigger fish now, aren't you?
Well, that's you that's brought me the luck since you sat down.
Yeah, maybe. What elastic are you using?
I'm using the new Reactor Core Saturn, and it's perfect for the sort of 3 to 8 pound carp.
Yeah. Obviously, the thing with hollows, I love hollows because you can put them through so much. You can do so much with them. You strip a load out, you pull a ball, you know they're not going to snap.
Yeah.
You get that extra little bit of give in them.
This new Reactor Core seems a little bit more progressive as well.
Yeah.
It seems to be able to cover a wider range of elastics.
What I didn't like with a lot of hollow elastics, hold him up for the camera. It's a beautiful little fish it is. Is that sometimes they just stretch and they never want to come back.
Yeah, they sort of bottom out without any resistance, if you know what I mean.
So what's he, £4?
He's 3 to 4 pound, him, isn't he? Beautiful fish.
Lovely little fish.
So here we have the adaptive cue that we was talking about,
Okay.
which brings the new top kits straight back to the same length as the old top kits.
Okay.
And it's just a parallel section.
Yeah.
It just fits straight into the end.
Yeah.
And that means all your new top kits
They're exactly the same length.
are exactly the same
Because
length.
obviously, you know, I do a lot of coaching and I take people out and they've got a cupping kit different lengths, they've got top kits, they're all different lengths. The
Yes.
idea with pole fishing is it's so precise.
Correct.
There's no point having top kits all different lengths, and you might say, oh, it doesn't really matter. It does. You know, it really matters. You've got your pole pot there, literally right on the end of your pole.
Yeah,
because
10 mil back.
You want to feed right on top of where you're fishing. So that is the whole idea of pole fishing. So you can actually be so precise with everything is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've also got, there's 2 areas on the new top kits that you can drill. So
Yeah.
you can have
And
your
they're
puller-
reinforced already, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, reinforced, ready to go.
Reinforced.
And that means you can have, if you do decide to fish at that
Yeah.
length, you can have your elastic in the same place as well.
Yeah. And I actually use the same beads, the same little bushes that you do there.
Yes.
I drill a hole, I think is it 5 mil hole,
Yeah.
and then you just pop them bushes in, them Middy bushes, pullet bushes,
Yep.
and it's like unreal.
You don't even
how
need any
easy
super
it
glue.
is. You don't need anything. How
No, just pop it
unreal how
straight in.
easy it is to fit. You know, so easy.
But that's the adaptive cue, which will come with all of the new range.
Superb. Nice one.
So obviously with the shortened length top kit, that means the pole was in theory the same length shorter.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So that brought us onto the next sort of stage of the design where we was looking at getting that length back.
Yeah.
And the way that we've done it, or Middy have done it, shall I say, is what we've called the Maximus wrap. And that is an extra reinforcement wrap at the base of each section.
Yeah.
And that's allowed the joint overlap to be shortened down, thus increasing how long the pole was,
Right.
while still
So that
maintaining...
takes up the slack of what we've lost on the top kit,
Correct,
isn't it?
yeah. So the pole is back to the original length
Yeah.
of all the original range, if you like, with just the added benefit of a stiffer top end.
Yeah. And also stronger joints. We all know
Yes.
when you're talking super expensive carbon,
Yep.
you're constantly putting the sections together. You get a little bit of carbon dust every time, and you know, it wears out. It does wear out. You can't help that. But by strengthening that, you're just delaying that wear process.
That's where a lot of the pressure gets put with the fourth section. You're always holding on to the end. On the fifth section, when you're fishing short, your elbow is inherently in that position, and that goes for the same all the way through every section, really. So
when I first took the pole out as a sample, I thought to myself that extra wrap is going to add a bit of weight to it, maybe going to unbalance it because there's a tiny little wrap on each section.
Yep.
But in theory, when you look down that pole now,
well, the actual truth of it,
it's still mega stiff. It's not done anything. It's actually.
Well, the truth of it, in terms of what it weighs, it actually weighs less than the previous XZ65, because a lot of weight on the poles is actually taken up on that double overlap. Yeah. If you know where you got the joints, you've got two thicknesses of carbon, and so by reducing that, that's allowed that carbon to go back into the walls of the back end of the main sections.
So obviously we'll talk about the responsiveness. You're getting little tiny bites today, you know, super fast bites, and like that, like that. And the pole is really stiff. That's one of the things that I really tried to hit home years ago when I was helping to develop the original range.
Yes.
I'm mad on having a really, really stiff pole because
this one certainly delivers.
You're catching loads of F1s. F1s are such a big part of commercial fishery work now. The bites sometimes are so fast, so shy. You need to have the responsiveness. So, and as we talk about, a little sort of like brown goldfish F1 sort of thing. So,
let's see. Is that a goldfish or a crucian or?
Little brown goldfish, nice.
Yeah. So you need the responsiveness to hit the shy bites, and that's where Middy have sort of developed their carbon and are now using what they're calling quad carbon.
Because obviously carbon techniques and layering techniques have moved on over the years.
Yes.
And this is where we're at now, isn't it? This quad carbon.
Yeah, and don't ask me to explain it because I'm not a carbon fibre engineer, but it's basically 4 different sort of angles of carbon fibre that they've laid on the pole to get both the strength and rigidity that we are after. Yeah. And they've made a brilliant job of it.
And obviously, the way it goes through your hand, it's the actual finish, apart from the actual Maximus wraps.
Yes.
The finish on the pole is very similar to my Z65 too.
Yeah.
In that it slides through your hand beautifully, but it's still got that matte finish. What I used to find when the pole was sort of too shiny and too glossy is when it was wet, the pole would just stick in your hand. You'd squeak along the pole rather than it going through your hand smoothly. And that's one of the things I do like about these poles, that the finish is a bit different to other poles.
Yeah.
But you know, it really works for me. Right then, Lee, we've rabbited on about the pole for quite a while now.
Yep.
I think this is ideal time for you to talk us through actually how you're fishing today and how you're catching these fish.
Well, nothing could be more simpler, really.
No, I noticed your bait. Your bait preparation was literally to get a bag of 6mm pellets out and pour them into a bait tub.
That's it.
So obviously you didn't spend all night last night doing your bait, did you?
I wasn't up all night.
No.
No. And I've actually tied a rig on the bank this morning as well.
Yeah.
So I've got one top kit, one line, fishing at 14.5 metres, and due to the size of the carp in this lake, I've just gone for 6mm pellets.
Okay.
And that's all I'm feeding.
While we're playing this fish, main line, what have we got?
018, which I use for all of my.
Yeah, nice and robust. You're never going to bust your main line. Hook length?
That's 014.
And how long is your hook length?
It is 6 inches.
Okay. And hook wise, what are we talking?
I've got a nice light KM1 size 16.
Okay.
Nice. It's not a weak hook.
No.
It's not the strongest of carp.
No, it's nice lightweight. It's a nice lightweight hook. And obviously you can see with how you're playing your fish, it's not about trying to break any match records. It's just about making sure it ends up in the net.
Correct.
You know, so there's no need fishing super heavy gear.
I think you and me fish quite similar in that respect.
Yeah, we don't want to mess around. Obviously there's a time and a place for making the most of your peg, but
I'd rather just get one in.
Get them in the net. That's the main thing.
This time of year as well. We're sort of coming into October now. We're in October.
Yeah, we're in October, yeah.
And the water clarity is starting to drop off, and then that weight of hook starts to make a bit of a difference.
And the thing is, even on a really good venue like this, if you can catch sort of like 20, 25 fish in a match, it's a really good weight. You know, you're going to be in the money at the end of it.
Oh, of course you are. Yeah.
And you break that down over 5 or 6 hours, it's not many fish an hour, is it really? So float wise, you've got a nice sort of diamond shaped float,
Yep, that's
fiberglass stem.
Wrap floats.
Oh, okay. What we say, 2 mil hollow bristle.
Yes.
And you've shotted your float. Now, whereas a lot of people would have sort of a bulk and 2 droppers,
Yep.
or a strung bulk, you've got a bit more of a strung out pattern. Tell me why that is.
Again, that's just with the time of year, really. Like a 6 mil pellet's a really heavy bait, so I don't feel as though you need that bulk to get it down.
Of course.
Especially with the way that I'm feeding, i.e. I'm pinging a few pellets at times.
Yeah.
At the minute I'm just kinder potting because I've got the fish there, but I like to have the pellet falling exactly the same as a loose feed.
Okay.
I just think,
that fish just then has proved the worth of that rig.
yeah,
Because that fish hooked itself on the drop while you were feeding it. and it's that sort of thing, it's those fish that the normal bulk and 2 dropper rig wouldn't catch.
Yeah.
So again, and there's no rush to get the bait down, is there?
No.
You know, there's no rush.
Well, I'm convinced that, you know, in a lot of situations, carp have got used to taking a falling bait as it's,
Of course,
it's safer.
Yeah.
If something falls naturally and you know it's like your loose feed, I just think it's more likely to be taken on the drop by one of the carp.
Right.
Basically.
Talk us through the process of what you've just done. So you've got a little pot on the end of your pole.
Yes.
You've just filled it to the brim with 6 mils. So you've
Yes.
probably got a dozen 6 mils in there,
So
something
it's
like that.
15,
Okay.
something like that.
Dip them in the water because you want it
Just
just
to break the surface tension when I drop them in.
Okay, so you're just taking that dry skin off the edge of the pellet so that everyone sinks straight away. And now, obviously, we're going to just pop them in over the top of your
It's as
float.
simple as you can get.
Right.
Now I've started the session by loose feeding with a catapult. That's drawn some fish
Yeah.
into the area.
So you've
They're
gathered
now
a few
feeding.
fish. Now you're
Now, if I was just
centralising them.
Exactly. If I just feel with the amount of fish in the peg now, if I was still loose feeding, I'd have them at all different depths.
Right.
And, you know, it'd be more difficult to catch them. Just all about making it as simple as you can possibly get for yourself. So,
Yeah. So you've obviously got a marker on the far bank.
yep, nice tight marker. Keep them all in one area, and lay the rig in. So obviously, it's falling at a bit of an angle back to it, but ultimately it's going to land straight over the top of those pellets.
There you go. Perfect. Real time, you catch your fish.
And it's just been like that after about the first sort of 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Really.
I mean, listen, it's a brilliant venue, and I always think as well, if you just fish in a nice, simple way, you catch fish, don't you?
Exactly.
There's no point overcomplicating it. The important thing is that...
It's a little baby one.
Here's a little baby, yeah. I think the important thing is, obviously, you're fishing at a distance today.
Yep.
Maybe you'd catch the fish a little bit closer
Well,
on a
obviously
day
we're here
like
to
today.
showcase the pole, so we've gone out to a longer length.
Yeah. But I think what we've got to remember is in a match situation, the fish generally push out. So anyone that is fishing any competitions or matches, they've got to appreciate that at some point they're going to have to sort of fish 13, 14, maybe 16 metres.
And with carp matches
follow
as
the
well,
fish.
that's actually for a lot of the match as well, isn't it?
It is.
Because we all know that you can catch a few at the start, short,
Yeah.
and then a lot of your matches all sort of either taken on the rod and line at distance where the carp back
Yeah.
off to, or fishing nice and tidy like in this manner
Yeah.
on the long pole.
So that's the range of poles, Lee. Fantastic range of 7 poles in the reactor core range. And obviously to go with those poles, we've got a whole host of spares to tailor the pole to your specific needs. So we've got F1 kits, we've got carp kits, 2 carp kits. One of them is rated up to a massive 25 elastic. We've got the ultra control kits. And then for anglers fishing deeper venues, rivers or just deep lakes, we've got spare 4, spare 5. They're generic across the whole range.
Yeah.
Short 4s, which, as you know, stiffen up your pole massively. They've also got a feature that obviously you and I both love, this little, foam cap system, which just means that you can put your sections together a lot faster, reduces the wear on your section, a brilliant little touch. And And then these little half butts, which I think these little mini butts are brilliant, just for protecting your pole from when you do it. Maybe you get a little bit overexcited. We all strike a little bit hard sometimes, and it's just that risk that you can put your elbow through your pole. But these just
We've all
help.
been there.
We help. It all helps to protecting the life of your pole. So I know there's something on the top kits that you're really keen to get across.
Yeah, just one thing I like. It's probably more for commercial fishing. It's free foot is very important to me in commercial fishing. It's where a lot of decisions get made and where I think the carp sort of sit on a regular basis, especially in cold weather. So we've marked it in 6-inch intervals right the way down to where the puller bush is, and that's set at a foot. So you just know that you're fishing in a foot and a half,
so
2
you're not
foot.
Scribbling with Tipex all over your pole and
ruining your new top kit.
That just looks a lot neater. It just looks brilliant. So obviously there's a range of kits and spares there for you to tailor your pole to make it the perfect tool for your fishing.
Yeah. Middy have got it covered, so you can configure your pole to the venues that you fish and really personalise it.
Perfect. Well, it's been a fantastic day here at the Glebe. I've really enjoyed myself watching Lee catch a load of fish, running through all the Reactor Core range of poles, and to be honest, it seems like there's a pole in that range to suit anyone's style of fishing. I know that Lee's caught a load of fish, Lee's enjoyed himself, so until we see you on the bank, tight lines.